Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing a first impressions video. It's kind of a bit of a last minute sort of thing because I was actually filming a makeup look and I got to my foundation and I realized I haven't actually done a first review on it for you guys. So I thought mid-video I'm going to jump in and just talk a little bit about a particular foundation that I'm going to use today. Now with this makeup look that I'm doing, it is a really spring dewy type of makeup look. I will link the video down below so that if you want to see what it looks like all finished, you can pop over and check it out. Today I am going to be doing a review on the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Glow. I actually picked this foundation up when I was in America, and as far as I'm aware, it is not available to us here in Australia. I was such a massive fan of the Infallible Pro Matte and the other one, I can't think of what the name of it was called, but I've actually been such a massive fan of the Infallible range. So when I spotted this, which I had actually seen pretty much all over YouTube and Instagram from my American bloggers that watch it, I really wanted to try it out. It was so incredibly hard for me to find. I found it in a Walgreens. It is a harder sort of product to get. I got it in two different shades because one was too dark and the other was too light. There wasn't a whole lot of a selection on the color range for this particular brand, which I thought was really, you know, not very fair, but I mean, sometimes they don't do a massive range of colors to choose from. So I picked it up in the shade 205 Natural Beige, and I also got 209 Caramel Beige. Now, I could probably use this when I'm highly tanned, but for an everyday look, when my tan is a couple of days old, this is probably a little bit too dark and this would definitely be too light. So I'm sort of hoping that by mixing the two colors together, I will be able to sort of create a perfect shade for my skin tone. I actually went ahead and went and tried to find somewhere that I could purchase this online for us Aussies, and I found that they do have some on eBay. It is in US dollars, but it is possible for us to buy it. You just will have to do it through the eBay website. I've gone on to target.com and I just wanted to read to you what their product description is so that we sort of know. Now it says here that it is a new look pro look of longwear. It is a pro all day glow, and it is up to 24-hour foundation. It comes in 12 different colors. It also just, the details that it says is, discover the new pro longwear finish of a longwear foundation, up to 24 hours with a hydrating glow, lightweight and creamy. This long-lasting foundation goes on smooth with a glow finish that lasts with medium coverage. It instantly hides perfection for clear complexion. The hydrating foundation with SPF is ideal for normal to dry skin, which is pretty much what I have. So I'm really excited to try this out. I haven't put on any primer yet, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Now, I don't actually have a drugstore primer. I thought that I did, but looks like I haven't actually bought one for a long time. So Invisible Undercover Perfecting Coconut Face Primer. This is just like a hydrating primer. It's really beautiful. I actually love this one. And I'm just going to pop this on one side of my face. Now at the moment I'm having a little bit of a breakout on this side, so I might just pop it on this side of my face just so that I can get that coverage happening there. Just mixed equal parts on my little palette, and I am just going to mix those two together, and what it looks like mixed together, it's a really, actually I just pretty much did half and half, and it's looking pretty good. So I'm just going to take my foundation brush and just evenly distribute it. Actually, it might be a little bit too dark. Just evenly distribute it all over. And I'm going to take my damp beauty blender and just start to buff that in. It probably could be up a lot lighter, but I feel like once we sort of buff it all in and blend it through using my highlighter and powders, it will definitely blend into my skin. I feel like there's just always ways that you can kind of blend your foundation in to match, but I think that this is just more or less just trying to get, you know, to see what this foundation's like. So my suggestion would definitely be you could quite possibly need to use a buy 2 different colors just so that you can see what colors that you would be. Those two, just so you know, those 2 shades were like next to each other. Like that was like pretty much from the natural beige tones straight into the darker one. So there was really no in-between color that I could see, because like even on the display stand they were next to one another. Like I felt like that it was a very big jump for something that, you know, was really dark and was really light. I'm actually gonna add a lot more light into it because I feel like this is just way too dark. Straight up, I can tell you, as someone who actually enjoys a fuller coverage foundation, the first layer was definitely not full coverage enough for me. It would be great to use as just like a daily sort of foundation. I can tell you right now that pretty much straight away I can feel that real glow, like the glowiness about this foundation, and I really like that. I don't feel heavy at all, and the coverage of it now with this second coat is definitely my sort of level of coverage that I like for a foundation. I actually really like the tones that it's created mixing the 2 together, just so that, you know, you're getting like the tones of color that you need for your own sort of skin tone. It's covering blemishes up really, really well. As far as like blurring, you know, pores and fine lines, it's not really that type of foundation. This is a really good everyday sort of foundation, I feel. I actually really like the way that it's sitting on my skin, and it was so easy to blend out. Like for a drugstore foundation, I always find that I have trouble color matching my skin to their colors. But now that I've mixed these 2 and created like a customized foundation, it actually matches my skin perfectly. It blends out perfectly. It was easy to move around. Like I said, I used a damp beauty blender, and I feel like that's probably a better tool to use for this foundation, considering you don't want it to look packed either. Like you want it to blend onto your skin quite nicely. I can't really tell the difference between my left side to my right side. At the moment, it looks pretty much exactly the same as far as like having a primer on there. Honestly, like I feel that it's just sitting so nicely on my skin, and it has like this real freshness about it. It makes my skin look really healthy, and I'm not mad at that. I wish that we actually had this product, because it'd be something that I would be really highly recommending to people, because straight up I can already see without it oxidizing that it just is sitting so nicely on my skin. So this is a really, really, really pleasant surprise for me. I'm gonna let that sit. I'm gonna finish doing the rest of my makeup a little bit later in the day, like it's 12:30. So I'm gonna finish doing my makeup and I will check back in. I'm gonna do like a couple of hours. Like I'll try and leave it on for as long as possible, like maybe till 8 or 9 o'clock tonight, because it does say that this is a 24-hour foundation, and I'm really curious to see what this is like. Although it did say that it is for normal to dry skin, so I'm probably going to say that it is going to go a little bit dewier over time, and if you are someone who does go oily, this might not be the foundation for you. You probably might be more inclined to go for the L'Oreal Pro Matte. As far as like having a really nice dewy look, this is great for summer. This is exactly what I'd be looking for when I'm wanting a really pretty look that I can do a shimmery sort of eye and look really just healthy and glowy. And this is not even with any powders or highlighters, so already I can see that whole dewiness about it. And like I said, I only used the Marc Jacobs coconut primer, and it didn't have any highlights in it, so you can see that this foundation is really giving it that extraness that I love. So I'm gonna finish doing my makeup and I'll check back in. Okay, so I have now finished my foundation. This is my final look. I last checked in at 12:30 and it is now almost 1 o'clock. So I've had the foundation on for about half an hour. I feel like it's well and truly oxidized, and so I'm really, really happy with the way that it's turned out. As for the actual color of the foundation, it definitely has settled into my skin a lot better. I feel like the colorings is a lot, especially too because I've highlighted and contoured and blushed and all the rest of it. I find sometimes you can sort of work around the colorings of your foundation. So far so good. Like I said, I've only had it on for about half an hour, but I'm really loving it. I feel like it is such a light foundation, as in weight wise. Doesn't feel heavy on my skin. I do definitely feel like it blurs out all of my scarring or like pores and things like that, even though it did mention that it doesn't do that. I am really excited about it. I definitely think that this is going to be something that I'm going to be purchasing in the future, and I'm really sad that we can't actually get it in our price lines or local stores. It's just so, I don't know, like I just feel like it looks really healthy. Like my skin just looks healthy, and that's what I look for in a foundation these days, especially because I am more dry to dehydrated. I feel like I like my skin to look a lot glowier, and this definitely does that. So if you are after a foundation that, you know, is that sort of look, I would definitely recommend it. I'll probably check back in maybe at about, I feel like maybe do it in about 2:30. That way it's about, I don't know, an hour and a half, 2 hours. That way we can really start to see if any of my oils start to come through. But yeah, I'll check back in then. Okay, so I'm back now. It's about, I said 2:30. Yeah, oh, well, there you go. 2:27. I have had now the foundation on for about 2.5 hours. I am still really loving it. I feel like it is definitely something that I am going to gravitate towards in the future. I really, really, really love this foundation. Only thing that I'm going to say is that it has started to go a little bit shiny. Do I hate it? No. I actually think that where it's going shiny is in the nice sort of places. I don't feel oily. I just feel glowy, and I'm feeling like the longer that it sort of stays on, more dewier and natural it starts to look.
Yeah. Well, how was Aspen? You guys were like, it goes back to this, but I'm up there. So it's like, what?
Okay, so I'm back now. It's about I said 2:30. Yeah, oh, well, there you go. 2:27. I have had now the foundation on for about 2.5 hours. 2.5? Maybe an hour and a half. I don't know, something like that. I am still really loving it. I feel like it is definitely something that I am going to gravitate towards in the future. I really, really, really love this foundation. Only thing that I'm going to say is that it has started to go a little bit shiny. Do I hate it? No. I actually think that where it's going shiny is in the nice sort of places. I don't feel oily. I just feel glowy, and I'm feeling like the longer that it sort of stays on, the more dewier and natural it starts to look. The only thing that I can mention to you guys is if you have oily skin, this is really probably not something that I would recommend, purely for the reason being that if you are naturally oily, your natural oils are going to come through mixed in with this foundation, and you're going to feel like an oil slick. So I really probably wouldn't recommend that to you guys. Other than that, it is such an affordable foundation, and I just love this foundation. Like, I just think it's amazing. I feel like it's really settled into my skin now. Like it's been a couple of hours. I'll check back in maybe at about 4:30. I feel like that. Maybe even 5 o'clock. I'll leave it a little bit longer this time. I'm not really doing anything else. I might film another video, but other than that, I'm not really doing anything major, so I'm not going to be doing strenuous. So we'll be able to see exactly how this foundation is sitting in another 2, 3, 4 hours. Also, what I might do is I'll do a photo with a flash and without a flash, just so you can see the difference, because it does say that it has SPF in it. Actually, yes. I'll do that now, and then that way we can sort of see if it gets any flashback. I'll start to research a little bit more where maybe we can purchase this other than eBay. I'll look up that now also. So I'll check back in at about 5 o'clock. Okay, so it's now 5 o'clock. I just wanted to do my 5 o'clock 5:02, 5 o'clock check-in. My makeup is literally been on for 5 hours and it is still literally fresh as a daisy. I have like been pretty much working on filming videos all day today. I have just been up and down the stairs and just moving things around, so my face kind of got a little bit of a workout today, not necessarily like hardcore, and considering like my makeup has been on for 5 hours now, like it literally doesn't look anywhere near as bad as what it did from the first, you know, time that I put it on. I'm like so happy with the way this foundation is sitting on my face. I feel like this foundation is literally like a new holy grail for me, purely for the sole reason being I am someone who suffers from dry to dehydrated skin. My face actually looks glowy. I never ever have that, and it looks naturally glowy. Like it doesn't look oily, it doesn't look cakey, it doesn't look anything. And to be honest, because it is a more glowier sort of look, it's not exactly like covering any of my pores as such, but I feel like it just looks so much like skin. And I feel like as someone who does like to wear a lot of makeup, I find sometimes do go to date events having dry to dehydrated skin, sometimes my face looks really cakey, and I feel like this would definitely be a foundation that I would use as a day event type of look, and even just an everyday type of look. So I am so impressed with the way that this has looked, considering that this is literally like 5 hours on. Difference between the prime side to the unprimed side is purely just the way that it's actually sitting on the skin. I'm finding that it's just not as, I don't know, like cakey as such. Like it looks a little bit more glided on, whereas any sort of lumps or bumps, it's kind of showing up on this face. But in saying that as well, it's really not terrible. I'm not mad at this foundation at all. I absolutely love it. I definitely highly recommend it. I don't know, I'm just obsessed. I might leave it on for another hour or so and just see how it's sitting a little bit further on, but as far as like it's looking at the moment, it's looking really good. So it's now 8:35 and I'm just gonna do my last check-in of the day. I have literally had this on for about 8 hours now, and I'm pretty much going to say that I'm in love with this foundation. This has literally held up pretty much all day. It hasn't budged. My face doesn't look oily. It's really glowy. It's still actually a really pretty base at the moment. Like it hasn't gone patchy, and it really hasn't moved around a whole lot considering I thought it would, being a hydrating and, you know, a glow type of foundation. I don't even feel oily at all, so that is another good sign. So yeah, this is definitely going to be a foundation that I'm going to use all the time. I absolutely love it. It just like the way that it looks on my skin is just so pretty. To be honest, really, even still right now, after pretty much being on all day, I can't really even tell the difference between the prime side and the unprimed side. I don't know, I just feel like it just looks like skin to me, which is what I really like. I love the fact that it doesn't look cakey. So yeah, I definitely highly recommend this foundation. I feel like this is my favorite drugstore foundation that I've used in such a long time. I am definitely going to use it all the time, and like I said, I'm going to leave links down below as to where you can buy it, because obviously you cannot get it in here in Australia. I'll leave a few links down below if you're interested in picking up some for yourself. But other than that, if you did enjoy this review of this foundation, please make sure you give this video a thumbs up, and if you're not already subscribed to my channel, please make sure you do. The red bell button is down below, so if you want to be notified every single time I post videos, it will be there. Also, all my social media links will be down below, so if you want to come past and say hello, I love it when you guys do. Until next time, I will see you all in my next video. Bye.